Do we have to get into VMix again, like new, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's the digital GT500. Well, it's the might be under ADAC SimRacing Expo GT500. Ryan, just to let you know, I'm going to mute as much as I can during the intro side of things. On the road to the ADAC Sim Racing Expo for 2024 continues once again with another staple within the competition that is sim racing. Welcome along to the opening round out of 5 for the 2024 ADAC Digital GT500. And for the 10th anniversary of the ADAC Sim Racing Expo, we decided to switch it up another gear. Gone is the traditional endurance racing format, and it is more about the most adaptable sim racing driver possible. 50 drivers have made it to this first of 5 rounds, where we will switch things up every single round, with the car and track being unveiled just the day before each of the 5 rounds. And welcome along to round 1, which sees us head to VIR, Virginia International Raceway. And the first car out of 4 to be used in this particular season is the iconic pony car, the Mustang GT3, and what's more, it is going to be exciting. Format is going to be as follows. It's going to be a 2-lap solo qualifying session, around about 8 minutes. Then we'll have a 20-minute opening race with the grid decided by qualifying, and then we flip the script once again, put the sand timer up on its head, and put the top 20 that finish the opening race round the other way. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, and once again alongside me, Nico Hillbrand, your official commentary team. Nico, 1 week after the opening of the Asetek Simsports Community Trophy, now we really get into the nitty-gritty. A €5,000 prize pool up for grabs. for the top 20 drivers. But I love the fact that we're able to really switch things up and just say to the drivers, you want to be the best? Let's see how you handle different cars, different circuits, and we're not going to tell you until the day before. That just showcases how adaptable sim racing is now as to what the likes of Sir Sterling Moss, Graham Hill did back in the 50s and the 60s. They drive anything and anything they could get their hands on.
Yeah, I'd say, it's definitely a nice callback to sort of like a little bit of a surprise moment, so to say, I mean, as you said, Graham Hill and Sterling Moss, like those guys were basically traveling all over the world, literally jumping from car to car, sometimes almost during the races even, with the wacky rules that were in place back then. We have it a little bit more predictable, we have just before the race weekend, in a very short time frame, so people have at least a little bit of time to prepare. We get the car announced, we get the track announced, and as you said, Ford Mustang GT3, long has it been awaited that that car gets revived. Early in the 2010s, we got the first GT3, which was an absolute insane car. I think one of the big outliers in race room for a very long time as well. Just almost 300 kph, and now we have the brand new one, and I'd say it's definitely a very worthy successor.
I've done the unthinkable. I've muted myself. Sorry, folks. Throw F's in chat if you like. I don't really care. But we are not that far away from our time qualifying session. So of course 10 minutes. It's going to be 8 minutes, and it's going to be 2 laps. So there is the circuit. VIR 5.2 kilometers, 166. 166 meters above sea level. And looking at the weather, well, cloudy with a hint of humidity there, Nico. 26 degrees Celsius. But this particular track is a great way to start things off. It's been open since 1957, and you've got a track that has really cool corner names like Horseshoe, NASCAR Bend, Left Hook. Sound like I'm actually in a boxing ring with Mike Tyson by saying that. South Bend, Oak Tree. Then, of course, from turn 13, you've got the good old roller coaster, and that's very much what we're going to have tonight with these drivers going out for qualifying, and then for what is going to be absolutely mental. GT3 rolling starts, and I'm expecting more than a bit of cacophony heading into the Horseshoe at C1 on the opening lap.
Yeah, and as you said, that this track is just one of the big staples of American racing history. And as you said, 1957 first opened. And this is, I think, one of those incredibly rare cases where the track itself, other than, having the pit lane on the back straight added and the infield circuit for the different layouts and stuff, nothing else changed about this circuit. No layout changes, no tarmac runoffs or anything. The only thing that changed really is that they moved the start-finish line a little bit further up. But other than that, it's still the identical circuit, and you really feel that 1950s racing circuit spirit here. Absolutely fantastic, and just a pleasure to be here for an equally pleasurable and absolutely fantastic series that we're starting today.
Yeah, of course, there are 3 other cars that are going to be used. The Mazda MX-5 Global Cup car, the Toyota GR86 Cup car, and also a favourite for those single-seater lovers out there, the Ray Formula Ford 1600. Along with the first track, out of 5, yes, I'll say that again, out of 5, we will have 4 other circuits to go on. We'll have and I'm just throwing these circuits out there. Motorsport Arena Oschersleben GP, the Circuit de l'Édonnant, a French track used in FFSA GT, Circuito de Navarra, the Speed Circuit, and the home of Petit Le Mans, Road Atlanta. Those are the 4 other circuits that we are going to be using. And Nico, we're not that far away from qualifying, but just really give people an insight on what we can expect in terms of, well, I'm not going to say carnage, chaos, and cacophony, That's three words beginning with the letter C all in one. But what does it take to really master this circuit?
Ooh, I could say the iconic line of James Hunt, how are you so fast? And every motorsports fan knows what he replied with. I unfortunately think I won't to keep it, proper here. But yeah, a lot of courage, a lot of car control, and if I had another word with C, that would be a perfect alliteration. But yeah, a good trust in your car. So this track insanely fast. It's insanely demanding, of course, and racing here, of course, despite having a lot of very, very good overtaking opportunities, it's not that easy. Simply because we have everything on here. We have on-camber corners, off-camber corners. We have elevation. We have straights. We have all these incredibly fast sections, which I actually like to call the roller coaster, even though it's not the actual section roller coaster T14. It's the entire section before you get to the front straight.
Yeah, very much the case there, Nico. We are just waiting to jump into the server for qualifying. But folks, don't forget to get involved with us at ADAC SimRacing Expo. If you are watching on YouTube and on Twitch, there is going to be plenty of action coming up. The calendar is going to be looking a little bit like this. Our next round will be on the 18th of August for round 2, 8th of September round 3, 22nd of September round 4, and the finale will take place live and direct. It'll be the final bit of action at the Dortmund Messe on the 20th of October. And then we'll be giving away to the top 20 drivers a total combined prize pool of €5,000. And what's more, things are getting very much underway. We've got 36 drivers in the server, 50 drivers qualified through the time attack stages. And with we're going to see a lot of horsepower. I mean, these Mustang GT3s, Nico, are going to be pushing out probably the best part of 500 to 550 brake horsepower when you consider those infamous letters BOP, which no one really likes talking about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, generally, I think the most common number that I found online for this car was around 516 horsepower. But also from Ford, they are basically saying, okay, but our wonderful 5.4-liter V8 NA Coyote Ford engine can be dialed up to 600 horsepower. And, it's the good old saying, there's no replacement for displacement. But what's even more crazy, despite this being an absolute chonker of a car, and I've seen it in real life, I've heard it in real life at Spa, absolutely stunning machine. Despite all that, somehow they got the dry weight, so the empty weight without any liquids in it and all that, down to 1,289 kilos, which is honestly just mind-boggling because that is lighter than my Hyundai Veloster, and my Veloster is far smaller.
Yes, that is your pride and joy, isn't it? Your Veloster. I was trying to remember. Is it NA or is it Turbo? Your one?
It's an NA. Like the Turbo one, they wouldn't sell to me. Maybe a good thing.
Yeah, definitely the case. So the format will be, as you can see, wonderful track plans courtesy of our broadcast director. Thank you very much to Ryan Gill, who is been with us, and also a big thank you to our relevant partners, SimStaff, Logitech G, Traction, Gridfinder, and of course our good friends over in Denmark. Well, funnily enough, that's where I'm commentating from at the moment. I'm actually in Billund, not too far from the home of Asetek Simsports. So already 2 broadcasts in so far in Asetek Simsport Community Trophy, and the digital GT500. Mr. Goldschmidt is broadcasting abroad. Well, thank goodness for modern technology. So what's more to the point, I mean, at times we're probably going to see about the low 1 minute 45s, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd say so. Though that also, it also like wildly depends on the conditions, because a cooler track, for example, you have the tires better chance in a better operating window, of course, It's always very, very difficult to anticipate that fully, and especially with the tracks rubbering in and all that. It's very dynamically changing, as we have, one of those very wonderful new, well, not new really, because it's been around for a while already, but, modern technology compared to what you used to have in sim racing with, dynamic track surface and everything. Just absolutely fantastic nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. We are just waiting to go through into qualifying, which should be very, very, very soon indeed. So thank you so much for being with us. Of course, thank you so much to everyone that joined in with regards to the Asetek Simsports Community Trophy. Round 2 for that will be Nürburgring Sprint on the 11th of August at 1800 UTC or 7 p.m. UK, 8 p.m. CES, Central European Time, in just a couple of weeks. So we are literally coming down to literally the last couple of minutes before we head into time qualifying. We have representation from a majority of nationalities from the UK. We even got as far as Asia, South America, continental Europe, the Stars and Stripes, even Australasia. So good that this has really attracted a lot of international talent, one of which who we do know, Sven Haase from Germany. In the number 46, we've got ex-Williams esports driver Dino Lombardi on this grid, and he's been very, very quick. You put him in a one-make series, say like Porsche, Tag Heuer Porsche Esports Super Cup, and he's been there. Also, looking down the list, Igor Wazowski, who is also competing, not just him, but also Dan Stepney from the UK, are also competing in this. We gave the drivers an opportunity to try and get in their information, which we'll try and go through as much as we can during the course of this session. But qualifying now has gone into action here for the opening round out of 5. Round 1 of the 2024 ADAC Digital GT500. 2-lap solo qualifying. And this is where you really have to put your best foot forward here, Nico.
I mean, yeah, you have 2 laps as a single driver. It's only 8 minutes, so you can't really wait too long. And that's an absolute, great example. We see the car leaving the pit lane, instantly warming up the tires, You just have to get everything on point 100% from the get-go. You don't really have a second chance, especially because the track gets counted, the lap gets counted anyway. One, you can't afford any sort of X, so you can not afford any off tracks, any loss of control. None of that. You have to be absolutely on it because you have to get your absolute best lap time, of course. And around here, it looks so nice and wide and open, but let me tell you, when you're driving this circuit and you're running at it at speeds, all of a sudden, that circuit is a lot narrower than you're thinking.
Yeah, well, we're riding with Germany's Sven Haase in the number 46 Mustang, coming down the back stretch and heading into the old oak tree down at turns, the far part of the circuit. So around about turns 10, 11 and 12. Well, that is actually the number 20, I'm afraid. My apologies there, Eric Grove. So we are going to literally have a big gaggle of cars. It's 36 it looks like for the opening round. Of course, the top prize, the winner of this year's ADAC Digital GT500, because it's all, we used to do it old school, as in teams would come to booths or have their own rigs brought in. If anyone might remember the 2021 ADAC Digital GT500, where we saw the last ever appearances of Max Benneker as a Team Redline driver, and he was partnered with Gianni Vecchio that year. I still remember when myself and Kobi Hubenbauer could not fathom what had happened with Team Redline. But we decided, well, we thought, you know what, let's just switch it up and see what happens. We've got the onboard here on the pony car itself. Wonderful, wonderful great amount of detail. Now this is on board with Sven Haase. Eric Grove has already gone on to his next lap, so track limits are going to be crucial here, Nico, because you said, yes, it's it might look nice and wide, it's far from it on a GT3 Mustang.
Absolutely. I mean, as you can see, you know, you don't really have any tarmac runoffs here. You have quite wide curbs, but, you know, despite that, just running onto the grass will probably lose you some time in, well, pretty much any location. And of course, if iRacing deems it off track, you know, 1x, then time is pretty much invalid immediately. So it's not great as we make our way through turn 9, now through turn 10, the south bend. And that was almost on the grass, I think, or a little bit on there as we go through turn 11 and 12 now, Oak Tree. And, well, the titular Oak Tree, actually, dramatically enough, hasn't been here for quite a while now, since it got hit by lightning.
Yes, I remember that. They still call it that, which is a pretty good thing. First couple of times coming in, Johan Hoyer from France, 1 minute 45.275. Alexander Davidson in the 555 P3. Simone Passoni goes top of the timesheets in the number 12. So Sven Haase is going to be one of the guys that we've really got to keep an eye on. Steen Ledger from, I think that might be from Australia, the number 41. Just 21 years of age, up to P7, and it's a very, very close qualifying. Lorenzo Manfredotti goes top of the timesheets by 1/100th of a second. Dino Lombardi goes better by 7/6500ths. So the number 13 puts his car on provisional pole position. Of course, only 2 laps for these drivers to have here in time qualifying, but it is very, very close indeed. Top 20, well, top 23. Rounded out by Igor Wazowski in the number 91, covered by a second. Make that the top 20. Yeah, make that the top 24 now. Lorenzo Manfredotti is not going to be carrying on in this qualifying session, having completed both laps. And there is Dino Lombardi, who might be possibly going for a further improvement in this session. We're halfway through the 10-minute qualifying session here at VIR. Please don't forget to put your thoughts in the chat, who you're going to be supporting throughout the digital GT500. And of course, there are those that are doing double duty. We are still waiting for lap times from the likes of Sven Haase, Andrea Dalla Valle, Cam Eben, Leon Harhoff, the current winner, or the current leader in the Asetek Simsports Community Trophy. Simone Maria Marceno goes quicker than Dino Lombardi, 1:45.177. There is the number 46. Wonderful livery there for Sven Haase. And we are still waiting for that lap time to come through from the number 46 from Germany. And he's coming through in towards turn number 18. Will Sven Haase, where will he place? We're going to find out. Hopefully, did that lap time register? Yes, it did, and he went pole by over 1/10.5. Well, good things come to those who wait, Nico.
I gotta say, you know, 1/10.5, that's in this field quite a message to send. However, we do have to look at the rest of the gap, because down to P34, that's Felix Vetter, that is 1.15 seconds. That pretty much the entire field stretches over. And then we only have, you know, 2 guys who didn't deliver a lap, I think, so far, and I don't think they are still on one.
Well,
there's an off track for the last one right now.
Yeah, and yeah. Well, sorry to cut across you there, Nico. Miroslav Svoboda from the Czech Republic, number 24, has put it 23rd on a 1:45.601. Andrea Dalla Valle is about 85% of the way through the lap and could very shortly, the 204 from Italy, could move up the order. But the big question is, we're going to find out, we're just finding out now whether Dalla Valle has done that, and only goes 26th in that session. There's still a couple of other people looking to improve. Leon Harhoff in the number 95. He's just about to come across the line now. 31st in the Yeah, he's 31st at the moment. There's ADAC Lopez. And then there's Leon Harhoff, the current leader in the Asetek Simsports Community Trophy. And he is all the way down in 31st position. But still, good to see people like Harhoff, Wazowski, all trying to get themselves into an opportunity to battle for some prize money. It is €1,000 for the ADAC GT500 2024 champion, and then we'll be giving prize money all the way down to 20th position. But I think one of the good things that we've done with this to step it up for the 10th anniversary of the Sim Racing Expo, Nico, is the fact that we've said to the drivers, forget endurance, it's adaptability. We want to see who can be the person we can say, right, get in this car, get in this track, you're racing tomorrow night. And that, to me, is more of a mouth-watering proposition, as we're with Pablo Espes in the number 11 car, currently running P16, getting very, very racy and very, very much whacking the curves through the roller coaster section. As Espes in the number 11 is going to come across the line. Will there be an improvement from 16th? Just waiting to see if the time is going to adjust, but I don't think that will be the case.
Yeah, honestly, this format, I think actually they took a little bit of inspiration from VCO, who actually did that a couple of times a while back already. Like, it feels like years, and it probably has been, but, you know, still very vivid memories. I did that with a good friend of mine. I got asked to jump in as a replacement driver. A quick shout out to Henry Drury, and that was an absolutely fantastic prospect, honestly. You know, going into ACC, going into R-Factor 2 and iRacing, you know, then having the car and track combination announced, I think, like 1 or 2 days before, or on the day itself. And I think the race I jumped in for, that was probably the craziest, was we had a full field with all these pro esports teams, NASCARs, at Daytona, but Daytona road course. And yeah, that was just absolute insanity, and the best kind, of course.
Well, qualifying has been carried out, and Sven Haase takes pole position for the opening round. We are getting ready to grid up for race 1 out of 2 here at Virginia International Raceway for the first of 2 races tonight. And what's more, we are going to have plenty of pony power around this circuit. Taking into account we're going to have 18,000 horsepower. Put it at 500 apiece each car. 18,000 horsepower roaring its way into the horseshoe at turn number 1. So there you see the top 18 with Giancarlo Sculla from the Parallel Racing Group with the number 21, nearly half a second down and 18th. That just goes to show how quickly things have changed. Keep your eyes on Adam Isaacson for SimRC in the number 78. He qualified on the outside of row number 2. But a whole host of international sim racing talent have joined us for this event. And, I mean, top 18 covered by 0.46 of a second. But, folks, looks like the grid is readied up and the red lights are on the gantry, because we're very shortly going to be heading trackside and we're going to be getting into our first race of tonight. Because what this means, folks, is here we go. Porsche pace car. It's Sven Haase on pole position. Simone Maria Marceno, Dino Lombardi, Adam Isaacson, Lorenzo Manfredotti, Simone Personi, Johan Huya, Jan Koch, and Koch. And then we've also got Alexander Davidson, Jason Staney from the United States rounds out the top 10. Good to see some of the people representing Grid and Go Esports, including our man on pole position. But the drivers are set and ready for the opening race of the 2024 ADAC Digital GT500, live from the virtual recreation of Virginia International Raceway, as 18,000 horsepower gets set and gets ready to burst into life here at this iconic circuit that has been around for well over 6.5 decades. As they build up to racing speed, Sven Haase has already got the jump as we run down to the horseshoe for the first time. And we're green flag racing. It's Lombardi up the inside of Marciano into the horseshoe for the first time. 3 wide just behind in the battle for 4th place. And a few drivers coming into a little bit of strife. But early doors, everyone making a very, very clean start. But good getaway by Sven Haase there, Nico.
Absolutely, and these guys, you know, they're all over each other. We have seen 3, 4 wide almost in the back. That's the nice part here. You have this very long straight line section pretty much at the front straight where you can make these moves, even with all the curvy and twisty bits. And the back, we have the first off there. Don't quite see which car that was, but there was hard into the right side wall at the exit of turn 6.
Also, someone's already going to be dusting themselves off. Obviously, that's dependent on whether that's going to put them all the way down. Patrick Thompson in the number 911 Mustang has dropped all the way from qualifying 13th in this first race and has dropped all the way down to 34th position. But Sven Haase has a lead of over 0.8 of a second as we're coming down towards turns 13, 14 and 15 and the iconic roller coaster section. But just looking at the amount of speed they're carrying, Lombardi just trying to steal a march over his Italian teammate, and it's Italy rounding out the top 4 with Dino Lombardi, Simone Maria Marciano and Lorenzo Manfredotti in the number 30. We go a little bit further back. Henrik Augustin, Luis Bellica, Manuel Largo, and also Giancarlo Scola with Haroldas Jotautas from Lithuania. So a lot of action going up and down the order, but yeah, Patrick Thompson, one of the, it was Adam Isaacson from Sweden that started on the outside of row 2 that has ended up, that might have been the car that went off at turn 6, Nico.
Yeah, dropped down 33 places, so my guess would be that it's either him or Eric Grove, who also went down quite a few places and doesn't seem to be running anymore, so that's insanely unlucky for them, of course. Not the start they wanted to this race and to this series, of course.
Yeah, so that's the main thing. You've got to sort of have a chance and an opportunity to get back at it for race 2 after this one. However, we are still at flat chat. Wazowski battling his way. Wazowski's made up 9 places so far, up to 23. P23, and he's closing in on Dan Sedgley, the driver that's competing in the Asetek Simsports Community Trophy. And we have Manu Ray in the 101 car, closing in on Bellica for 13th place. Hoye rounding out the top 10, but Sven Haase did exactly everything right at the start there, Nico. He made sure that he got away and scarpered. At least no one else can try and catch him.
I mean, you know, Sven is also one of the most experienced guys. You know, you've seen that name around everywhere at some point.
Oh, yes.
Be it in a clip of Max Verstappen or with, you know, his exploits for Bila Esports. And yeah, you know, experience is everything in the end. You know, not only do you have just everything already, like you basically have the experience in the simulator, you have the experience in the different cars, but also for the racing situations. You know how to anticipate where to push, where to hold back, and exactly at the start here, you know, he knew exactly when to go and, well, pretty much outplay, well, everyone around him pretty much, because that's a 1.1 second gap pretty much. And in F1, the others would be thoroughly out of DRS range now.
Yeah, very, very true indeed there, Nico. Just goes to show how quickly things can turn around. That's exactly what has just happened for him. So we continue onwards with this race, and it is still going to be very much a case of seeing how everything all transpires as it all pans out here at this this fantastic circuit. It is just so great to see these drivers really pushing the envelope in the Mustangs. Sven Ole Haase, I still remember commentating on him, yeah, when Frank Bieler the legendary Frank Bieler, managed to bring a team to the ADAC SimRacing Expo back in 2021. Now we've got some action here. David Bosga in the number 6 going toe to toe, and that was with Augustin in the number 999. But David Bosga gets through. That was at the roller coaster section, and they've got Beilicke, they've got Ray. Look at this, a 4-car scrabble as Sven Haase puts in a new fastest lap of the race. But, well, David Bosga, welcome along to the digital GT500. He's really putting up a stir defence, hard on the brakes and rotating the car through T1. He's going to get a little bit of a love tap from behind. Here's Bosga. Augustin trying to go around the outside. Beilicke's trying to make it 3 wide. Ray is there or thereabouts. This is going to get a bit too close for comfort as they go through NASCAR Bend. Here at turn 3, then it's left hook at turn 4A into turn 4B. Still side by side behind Bosga. This is absolutely brilliant. This is what we wanted for the digital GT500. And these drivers, they're not here to make up the numbers. They're here to put on one hell of a show.
Absolutely, that was a very, very good move. Very nicely down the inside for roller coaster. And I was going to say, can he hold it around the outside for 15 and 16A? But very nicely done, because then for 16B, turn 17, he was able to hog the inside through the hog pen and actually almost cost Augustin another position there, because Ray from the back and Skula as well, they were just all over him. But Augustin, very good situational awareness, able to then get back and well, pretty much just try and defend as much as he could salvage from there.
Yep, indeed. So the driver's really just pushing like crazy at the moment, and it is so wonderful to hear these Mustangs roar around this 5.22 kilometer circuit. It really is just what we wanted to see, what we needed to see, and just seeing them come down through this part of it is just one of those things that tend to happen.
I'm just looking through all the lap times in the back. So, you know, at the front we're seeing low 45s, and then after P10 pretty much we're starting to see more in the area of 46s and more around that area. But you know, don't be deceived into thinking that, oh well, these guys are just bad in comparison to Haase. No, that is also, you know, obviously they're all fighting. They're looking for moves. They have to do the defensive actions. And as soon as you have to go into the defensive mode, you obviously can't just follow the racing line anymore. You know, you're obviously right next to the racing line because you're trying to block off possible moves that the guy behind you could make. And yeah, it just slows you down more and more and more.
Yeah, very much the case. Because the more you get hindered, the more that the person in front of you is going to get away into the distance, and that's very much the case here at VIR. But still, Leon Harhoff has also, I think, ended up in the pit lane possibly. He started 31st. Adam Isaacson's back out on circuit, but there is an opportunity where drivers can gather points over the course of the season itself. And here we see Bosga, Beilicke, Augustin, they're still battling away over 11th place, and what this is not helping is David Bosga has a 3.1 second deficit to Adecoba Lopez, number 34 car. But yeah, Beilicke, one of the, I think one of the Apex Racing Academy drivers, if memory serves me correctly. But Sven Haase at the moment is just powering away like nobody's business, and we're on lap 6 out of 10. Air temperature 25.5 degrees, track temperature 26.6 degrees Celsius. But yeah, I mean, still, we also have to say a big thank you to the likes of Toshihiro Kawasaki in the number 58 from Japan, who's running 25th at the moment behind René Leek in the number 77. What's happened to Adeco? As Lopez had might have had a problem. he tumbled all the way down to 26th. So, well, might have a disconnect. So, might have had that from a couple of drivers already. So, yeah, disconnects with servers when you've got north of 30 plus cars on the on a circuit like this. It never gets any easier, but sometimes people might blame the connection on the server, but sometimes the internet strength or the ping might cause a problem with that, and that has happened before. You and I, well, you know that from experience as well, Nico.
Oh, don't remind me. There's so many different things that can happen for this, you know. My favorite is generally in normal service hours, in normal, like in the middle of the day, a router update from my most beloved company in the world, Telecom, and that has actually cost me quite a bit of prize money before, when I was still active myself as a fellow esports athlete. But you know, that is just basically our ways of technical difficulties that we can have, as opposed to, you know, for example, a rim breaking or something like a wheel rim. Though actually, like, that could probably be simulated as well if we get a couple more features added into iRacing. But you know, just general reliability issues like a gearbox being stuck in gear and all that stuff, you know. And luckily, the internet is a lot cheaper to fix than you know, buying a whole damn new gearbox.
Yes, that's very true. You have to give a shout out to Grid and Go Esports, who are currently watching on the YouTube stream, saying, yes, we were there in 2023. I said, yes, I know, we were both there. And we're glad to have you guys and girls on the grid again. So we are on lap 7 out of 10, and Sven Haase has a lead of only just 1.3 seconds. Now, when you have a look at the likes of Dino Lombardi, who has been around for a very, very long time, what can also happen is that we've seen it before, as we've got Alexander Davidson and the number 7 of Janukov being very, very close in proximity, within, what, 0.6 of a second of each other. At one point, it was less than 0.3. So Jarno in the number 7 has to close in on the 555 of Alexander to try and get through. But then a little bit further back, got to look really at the back at the battle that we are seeing on the screens. That is Hendrik Augustin in the 999. But then you also look at the likes of Simone Passoni in 7th, ahead of Johan Hoye and Jason Staney from the United States. They are covered by 1.3 seconds in the battle for 7th place. And still with 33, well, actually no, make that pretty much the entirety of the field, apart from ADAC Lopez. 35 out of the 36 drivers are still running, and this, when we get onto cars such as the GR86 Cup car, the Mazda MX-5, the Ray Formula Ford 1600, we're going to see even more madness, because, folks, one of these cars will be selected twice. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you what it is, when it's going to happen, but let me just tell you this. We are mixing it up. That's what we wanted to do. Like you said, taking the inspiration from VCO and their big boss, Mr. Florian Hasper, you know, became a positive disruption within esports with you know, the Pro Sim series Infinity, then Pro Sim Infinity, and then also them having an association with the ImSim Global Esports Championship, which has been a nice little revelation. Of course, a lot of series have decided to come on into sim racing, and also the manufacturers with it as well. I'm sure that Jim Farley and the team at Ford were very, very happy when they said iRacing went, yeah, we're going to come over and scan one of these, because we love this car. Well, it is through and through full-blown America, isn't it?
I mean, it's one of the most iconic sports cars, you know, and muscle cars, of course, of all time. So absolutely, you know, like the first one that they unveiled, you know, back in the 60s, you know, with the help of course, Shelby American, being prepared into a race car both for Group 2 racing. So this car basically raced on the same touring car grids as, you know, Mr. Bean's Mini Cooper, which is still a very fun image to think about and even more fun to watch in Goodwood every year.
Yes,
And
yeah, pea green bodywork with black bonnet. It was before two-tone paint jobs and wrap jobs on cars nowadays came into the sort of the thought processes of most people these days. But still, we are concentrating on the battle for what is now P10, and David Bosca, the number 6, running very, very well indeed. Luis Bellica just behind Hendrik Augustin, and then we've also got Manu Ray in the number 101. So that is 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th. So a four-way scrap over the final position in the top 10. But Sven Haase is still pulling away. He's put the fastest lap of the race in so far, 1 minute 45.034. And I've been really impressed with a lot of the clean battling we've seen so far. The white flag is out for the final lap. So we're going to be doing 10 laps. That's over 50 kilometers. As here comes the opportunity for Simone Maria Marciano to get past Dino Lombardi. And Lombardi still keeps his nose in front as they head into NASCAR Bend. Now into left hook. And who have they got with them? Ah, I spy with my little eye, number 30. Italy's Lorenzo Manfredotti, waiting in the wings to pick up the pieces.
that's, you know, this is always one of the precarious things, you could say. You know, you want to obviously get past, it's the last lap, but at the same time, you're also just sitting back there thinking, maybe if I play my cards right, they might hit each other. Of course, you know, these two guys running in the same livery, teammates, they know each other, we won't be looking to hit each other, since it's the golden rule of motorsports, don't hit your teammates, but anything is possible.
Yeah, very true, as we are coming down to the backstretch for the final time here on this one. It is going to be the case of the run down to South Bend, and then into turns 11 and 12 at Oak Tree. But you can just see that this second place battle is going to go right down to the wire. But Sven Haase in the number 46 has been making good his intentions. And from that perspective, the 35-year-old for gridandgo.com esports has done everything right. Flash of the lights here as he crosses the stripe. Sven Haase from Grid and Go esports picks up the opening win of the 2024 ADAC Digital GT500. What's more, that's going to put him 20th on the next race, and he's going to make his way through the field. So Sven Haase takes the win. Dino Lombardi second, Simone Maria Marciano third, ahead of Lorenzo Manfredotti, Alexander Davidson, Jano Koch, Johan Houllier, Jason Staney. Then we got David Bosca, Luis Bellica. They ran at the top 10 ahead of Simone Passoni, Manu Ray, Hendrik Augustin, John Carlos Skula, Pablo Espes, Halodas Jotuas. Then we got Steen Ledger, Miroslav Svoboda, Thomas Cope, and Igor Wazowski is just so happening to be the person that ends up on the top 20 reverse grid pole position for race 2. So what's more to the point of seeing how things are going to go? You know what, we would plan to try and do an interview, but we have got a brief warm-up happening, so we'll try and speak to our race 1 and race 2 winners after both races have been done and dusted. But interesting opening race there, Nico, to kick things off.
100%, and I think the real interesting part now will be, you know, we saw Haase basically drive away, you know, keeping everyone at his controlled pace. The thing is, he won't be able to do that in the second race, you know, unless he's just that fast, even getting past others. But we have the same length for the round 2, 20 minutes pretty much as a time scale, you know, 10 laps pretty much again. So for him, that would pretty much mean 19 cars in 10 laps. That is almost, well, that would be a last to first challenge in an F1 sprint race pretty much, wouldn't it? So yeah, absolutely insane challenge to overcome, and it definitely mixes stuff up for the point standings, and of course, for just everyone else involved here.
Not everybody is wanting to, put all four wheels onto the tarmac for every single session, because when you've just done a 10-lap race, first thing you want to do is have a comfort break. Get all the adrenaline out of you. You want to rehydrate, get some sodium back and electrolytes back into your system, and get yourself ready to race again, because it's like literally, it's not long before you've got to start gridding up, and you've got 90 seconds to do so. So not everybody, I think I count, what is it, on the warm-up? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 out of the 36, less than a third of the field are out on circuit, and some really, they're probably only going to get like 1 or 2 laps in, if at best. But for some people, when they're up against such stern opposition here, Nico, you really have to, if you're one of these drivers that thinks, I really need to put everything in, I want a little bit of I want a little slice of that prize pool. I want to make sure that I do everything I can and leave no stone unturned.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you have to sort of, either you have to be that fast that you can basically just always go, well, I'm shooting for the win, or you have to have a look at a little bit of strategy play, what I'd like to call it, simply because you're going, okay, in qualifying, I can't quite match that. So what's the best thing I can do? Well, basically just try to aim to be just within the top 20. Try to be ideally on 20th place, and then for the second race, sure, there's a lot of faster guys behind me, but they'll have to get past others first, and those other guys will not be very willing to just make way and go to the side. So it's always a little bit of strategy, a bit of risk assessment, and a little bit of trolling,
A little bit of trolling for good measure there. Well, folks, everyone is starting to ready up once again for race 2 of round 1 of the ADAC Digital GT500 here at VIR. And once again, we'll have 18,000 horsepower flying their way into turn 1 at the Horseshoe. There's the Porsche safety car as our 36 Mustang GT3s starts to ready up on the grid. So Igor Wazowski will be on pole position, Thomas Cope alongside on the front row. Then Miroslav Svoboda, Steen Ledger, Alvarez Jotuas, and then we've got Pablo Espes, Giancarlo Scuola, Hendrik Augustin, Manu Reyes, Simone Passoni, Luis Bellica, David Bosca, Jason Staney. Then it's going to be Jano Koch, and then Alexander Davidson, Lorenzo Manfredotti, Simone Marceno, Dino Lombardi, and Sven Haase will be the top 20. So it's going to be interesting to see whether the likes of Adam Isaacson, Leon Harhoff, and Adel Lopez manage to make their way through up the order, because the red lights very shortly will be ignited on the starting gantry, and once again we will be racing for 10 laps. So lots of kilometers, probably the best part of over 60 plus kilometers in these 500 plus something horsepower Mustang GT3s. Of course, Ford Performance have the Ford Mustang represented over in Australia with the Supercars Championship. But here we go, red lights very shortly, will be on the gantry. Everyone's getting up to full racing speed. Wazowski's taken a leaf out of the page out of the book of Sven Haase, as Thomas Cope gets put under significant pressure. Miroslav Svoboda gets a little bit squeezed as Jotuas gets through. Espes ends up 5th, gets ahead of Steen Ledger, who drops a couple of positions in the opening stages. Espes now up to 4th as all. Wazowski runs wide.
Yeah, again, you know, you have this complete rhythm change at the beginning of the lap. You go from this very wide circuit, very open, very fast, and everyone's going 2, 3 wide. Ooh, there's a lot of people actually taking a little bit of an escape road there, trying to take either way around, and there's someone sideways again. It's a big one.
Oh, it is like the big one at Daytona. There are 6, 7, there's 4 cars involved in the wreck at the back. Andrea Dalla Valle has just gone into the pits. René Loic has dropped down from 21st to 35th. Meantime, there's the battle at the front end of the field. Wazowski ahead of Cope with Jotaltus in 3rd. Espes a little bit further back. But yeah, Andrea Dalla Valle out of the race and might be effecting a repair. Meanwhile, Thomas Cope is trying to get through on Wazowski for the race lead. Jotaltus very much in close proximity. They start battling away. These three are covered by just over 0.6 of a second as they come through the roller coaster section. I think René Loic, Felix Vötter and Cam Eben all caught up in the crossfire. I think even Eric Grove, the number 20, also had a drama. As always, further problems. Simone Maria Marciano, Alexander Davidson, Marcello Caserta, they've all dropped down big time. So further problems have happened in the opening lap and a half. Meantime, where is Sven Haase? 15th at the moment.
Making quite good progress, you know, considering that's 5 positions. That's very, very respectable, especially in lap 1. But yeah, like we've seen it in both races now at the start. You know, everyone is so close together. Everyone's 3, 4, almost 5 wide, and all of a sudden, through this section, turn 4, 5, 6, A and B, all of them, just gets incredibly narrow and incredibly fast again. It goes from fast to slow to fast, and space just runs out so quickly. And through all of that, Sven Haase managed to navigate through there, as everyone is, well, making the groundskeeper's job a lot easier by mowing some lawn by the side.
They definitely wouldn't be in the favour of Jonathan Palmer if that was an MSV circuit. He'd be sending all digital invoices, even though it might be iRacing. Oh, so we have got one driver missing a rear wing, I've just been told. So someone's not going to have any rear downforce on that car.
So ahead of number 4, that would be Rover. Yeah, yeah.
Number 4, you say?
Yes, here. Ahead of number 4. Ruya, 99.
Oh, dearie me. So, yes, there's no wing on that wagon, as we would say.
The things are just hanging on there like 2 coat hangers.
Well, he's just, well, Johan's just dived into the pit lane, so that's helped him quite a lot. Fastest lap of the race, though, at number 11, Pablo Espes. Well, that was until Dino Lombardi fired in a 1 minute 45.269. Meantime, Quartet battling at the front end of the field as Espes has joined the battle, and they are covered by just a fraction over a second. But great work by Wazowski and Cope to get into the lower part of the top 20, find themselves on the front row, and now they've got Jotaltus and Espes closing in. Sven Haase now up into 14th place, just behind Simone Passoni in the number 12. And then it's got the likes of Bosga, Kosh and Svoboda just up ahead. So Sven Haase only 4 positions away from getting into the top 10. But these laps are going to quickly count down, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 10 laps in itself. It's, as you said, 50 kilometers. For just a normal drive, or driving from point A to point B or something, you have to drive to work or something, that's like half an hour or something. But we don't have speed limits here, we don't have excessive traffic here, besides, well, the fights for position, of course. So this flies by completely, absolutely insanely quick. And yeah, especially if you're in the role of Sven Haase, who's very respectfully made up 6 places already through this entire chaos and shenanigans of the first couple of laps. At the same time, you have to commend Wazowski and Cope, actually, for keeping it together, because, of course, these guys got here through the reverse grid, but with all the chaos going on, they could have easily fumbled that as well, you know, and especially around here where the first section is so wide, it's so open to attack, you just mess up that start a tiny little bit and all of a sudden you get swamped by an angry amount of horses right behind you.
Oh, Wazowski locks up a little bit, and Thomas Cope is waiting there to pounce, and this is still going to be pretty much down to the wire. The top four in this race, in comparison with race one, very, very tightly packed. And also, don't count out the number 999, Hendrik Augustin from Germany in 5th place. He's only 1.7 seconds away from this battle. So there is every opportunity as Thomas Cope dives for the lead. And is that Wazowski around? It is. And that is going to be Espes and Jotaltus alongside each other. But you can tell that Wazowski is very much unhappy with the intentions and the execution of a possible overtake by Thomas Cope. Oh, that might ping the steward's interest on that one.
Might have been the slightest bit of contact, so he just out of
Jotaltus has got off as well. Espes into the side of him. Oh, the absolute Motorsport Acelith number 56. Oh, rejoin please, careful. Oh, and he's right, well there's Sven Haase I've just spotted in the 46, so he's got to get past Jotaltus very, very quickly. It was all going so well until, well, push came to shove.
Ooh, yeah, just everything escalating quite quickly there. But it looked like a little bit of contact, maybe through turn 11, just like a slight hit from Cope on the left rear. So the right rear. So Cope's front left on the left rear, right rear. Sorry, god damn it, my directions are all messed up.
Links, rechts, gauche und droite. What's going on?
He gave him those Lewis Hamilton on Red Bull special.
Oh dearie me! Don't go down that well, Nico. Come on.
But you know, be that as it may, you know, it actually did kind of do wonders for Thomas Cope because now he's 1.8 seconds clear. A little bit more easy to breathe right now, but I don't think Wazowski will be too happy with that.
Well, no, Wazowski's like a charging bull at the moment because he's up to third now. He's got Augustin in his wheel tracks. He's up the rear diffuser of Pablo Espes. And now he's flashing the lights as if to say to Espes, come on, mate, get out of my way. I've got, there's going to be some karma coming somebody's way. That's what I might be, that's what I assume. It's not what I can predict. It's what I'm assuming how Igor Wazowski was feeling because he led up until Thomas Cope gave him the slightest of touches and it spun him around. And that does happen. That unfortunately does happen. So from that perspective, yes, you can understand. One of the things is that hell hath no fury than a racing driver that's been yeeted around.
Hell hath no fury, but Igor Wazowski definitely does. I actually think he was bump routing him down the back straight as well, so you could see the gap going down, I think 1 or 2 tenths there, which is, you know, it's the best course of action that he can do right now, you know? Work together, you're basically being accelerated by having nothing in front of you, and at the same time you can use that momentum you gain by pushing the guy ahead of you, so very legitimate strategy. They just have to look out that they don't reach the incident limits.
Yes. Well put. Well said. Yeah, they don't want to exceed the instant limits because then otherwise it's an automatic drive-through. But Cope has got a gap of 1.5 seconds, and at this rate, it could be a case of all she wrote if the number 64 manages to just keep going ahead like he is, because he's not letting go. And Thomas Cope, the 25-year-old Brit, running, well, currently a Porsche Esports Carrera Cup GP driver, runs with Olympus Esports, uses Cube Control steering wheel, Heusinkveld pedals, VRS wheelbase, and what does he want to achieve in his sim racing career? Win championships and events with my uniform sim team. Well, that's a good thing. as such to hear that someone wants to try and win stuff. But Pablo Espes has now, I think, got the message from Igor Wazowski, is it to say, right, time to hurry up, let's catch the pigeon, shall we? And the pigeon just so happens to be called Thomas Cope. And if anyone does not remember, well, a lot of you might be thinking, what are you referring to there, Alex Goldschmidt? I'm referring to Dick Dastardly and Wacky Races with his accomplice Muttley. And the song was called Catch the Pigeon. I'm really showing my age now, Nico. Oh my God.
Just the absolute pop culture reference there. Wonderful.
Hey, well, you know what they say, if you can't take the mickey out of yourself, life ain't worth living.
True enough. Meanwhile, taking the mic, none of them actually really taking the mic, but that is, I think, Koch having a slowdown there. Jano Koch being very, very close to Stula there, coming out of that entire squiggly section called Snake, fittingly.
Oh, who's just gone
a
off?
bit too wide, and that is quite a guy.
I think that was... yeah, someone definitely went off. I think it was either Ray or... it might have been Bellica went off.
Sorry, it was Ray. It was Ray.
Oh, Ray, yeah, number 101. Yeah, that was definitely a case of how to rally cross your way around VIR. But, interestingly enough, folks, on lap 7 out of 10, Wazowski still keeping in the wheel tracks of Espes. Hendrik Augustin and Steen Ledger with Manu Ray are now rounding out the top 6. Top 6 covered by 2.6 seconds. But what's even more interesting, Thomas Cope has lost about a third of that race lead that he did have. It was 1.6 seconds, it's now a second. So I think Cope might be starting to make a couple of mistakes here or there, Nico, and that could be quite crucial for Pablo Espes, and more importantly, to the man behind him, Igor Wazowski.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the pop culture reference, now I have to make a bad pun. Thomas has to keep on coping instead of being seething in the end, but yeah, the gap is definitely going down. Last lap I actually was going to say they only gained a 10th on him, so he's still in the clear, but this last lap here, they just gained, I think, 3/10 on him. So Espes getting into the danger zone slowly, so if that rhythm keeps up, or maybe a little bit more, now they also catch up a lot more, of course, because the closer they are, the stronger the slipstream. And now he doesn't only have, you know, Espes coming up with 8/10, 9/10 pretty much now, which is going a little bit up and down and all that stuff. He also has Wazowski, Augustin, Ledger, and Ray, all right slap on slap right behind that, and that's the last thing you need in the last, well, 2.5 laps of your race. You're fighting for the lead, you're trying to defend the lead, you're just trying to, in a relaxed manner, you know, not to go too crazy, just get some points, look towards the next round, and all of a sudden there's a horde of angry bees behind you, and it's 5 of them, and yeah, anyone who's ever sat outside in the summer and all of a sudden there's just bees, they know this conundrum, so to say.
Hornet's Nest, what's that? And then you find out by getting stuck. 2 laps to go now, and well, it's getting very, very close indeed. Top 2 covered by 8 and a bit tenths of a second. So Thomas Cope leading the way, Pablo Espes in second, Igor Wazowski in third. There is the number 91 actually deciding, well, you know what, I'm gonna wear the proper Ford Performance livery. Love that livery, absolutely epic stuff. Subtle but clean, and truly very much Mustang orientated on that one. Now we got we've also got Jano Koch in the battle for 10th place, because look who's closing in on him. The number 46 of Grid and Go Sim Esports, Sven Haase, looking to get himself into the top 10, and that will have been a pretty good run after starting down in 20th, having won the opening race of the event, well, out of the entire calendar so far here at the Digital GT500. But yeah, that just goes to show with putting everyone in the equal car and putting everyone at the same track, it really has showcased that, yeah, you can be quick out of the blocks on qualifying, as Pablo Espes now has a clear crosshair sighting on Thomas Cope from Olympus Esports. The battle for the race win in race 2 on round 1 here at VIR gets going as we head onto the white flag lap. 5.22 kilometers remain, and Thomas Cope has got no room to breathe.
Yeah, it's getting very, very close for comfort now. Is he going to look down there? Not quite yet into Horseshoe. Thinks better of it, but he did put enough pressure on Cope. Now looking down the inside. Very, very long corner, of course. Seemingly never ending as a turn 1. And, oh my goodness me, that is... He's putting them properly under pressure. At the same time, look at that. Look how close he's getting on the brakes there. Absolutely insane. I think Cope is also trying to slightly slow him down there, so he just gets a bit of breathing room going into the apex and then to put a bit of a gap on him. But all these shenanigans is also, of course, allowing Wazowski to catch back up. Not quite into striking distance yet, but Espes definitely is. Now, where will he make his move? You know, we're getting closer and closer to the halfway point, pretty much. Through turn 10, now to turn 11 and 12 around Oak Tree, and unlike Thomas Cope when he had this unfortunate little contact here with Wazowski, Espes is actually looking further for the outside, trying to take a wider line to then straighten it up earlier. Now on the back straight, he's getting closer, 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 closer. Is he going to look on the outside yet? And
he's going to go, yeah. He's going to go for it through at turn 13 at the roller coaster. A little bit of a hip check between the pair. Espes and Cope side by side. This could give Wazowski the opportunity as they're going to go through into 14, 15. They're nearly going to be wheel to wheel, banging door panels as we're on the final lap out of 10 for what has been an interesting and dynamic second race of the opening round of the ADAC Digital GT500 for 2024. But Olympus Esports going to pick up a win. Are they? Does Espes have enough in the tank? No. Thomas Cope takes race 2 by a tenth of a second ahead of Pablo Espes, Igor Wazowski, Hendrik Augustin. Steen Ledger picks up P5 in the number 41 car, ahead of Manu Ray, Luis Bereker, Giancarlo Scuola, Jano Koch, and Sven Haase picks up P10, ahead of David Bosca, with Simone Passoni, Dino Lombardi, Haroldas Jotautas, Jason Staney from the United States, and Lorenzo Manfredotti running at the top 16, Miroslav Svoboda, Daniel Ingelmo, Alessandro Porta, Adam Isaacson. Isaacson made a good run, 34th to 20th in that race, ahead of Toshihiro Kawasaki. Ade Lopez starting at the way back at the end of the grid, out of 36. He finished 22nd ahead of Daniel Sedgley, Cam Eben, and then we had Octavio Rondoletto, the Argentinian, in the number 92, finishing 25th ahead of Leon Harhoff. Tobias Kuchen, Johan Hoyer, Alexander Davidson, Simone Maria Marceno, Eric Grove, Felix Vetter, René Loic, Patrick Thompson, Marcello Caserta, and unfortunately, Andrea Dalla Valle. Well, we know him from old. Andrea, unfortunately, is not going to make it, well, didn't really make it into the other side of things. But we have got an interview to happen, because I know that in the waiting room, let's see if we can drag this person across. Let's see if we can bring Thomas Cope in. Thomas Cope, good evening and congratulations. Race 2 winner of the opening round of the ADAC GT500. How are you feeling?
Pretty warm. Sweating a little bit after that one. It got very close towards the end, but yeah, very good race and very happy result.
Yeah, it got a bit close at the end, a bit too close for comfort between you and Pablo. What happened between you and Igor? Because we saw you two, you went for the lead, dived up the inside, and then I think Igor decided he was going to be filled with fire and brimstone trying to come back at you.
Yeah, I made a move down into the old tree hairpin, and we had a slight touch going into the corner of the apex, I feel like the apex was mine. I think I had a sufficient overlap and a bit of a touch between us. He went wide off the corner, and yeah, I ended up staying just on the track, and that because the neg code blue sort of pulled me outside as well.
Yeah, but I mean, when you got told yesterday what track would be for round one, how does it feel to have a format that's a little bit different, where it's all about adaptability and just trying to make the best of it through over 5 rounds, where there's 5 different tracks, 4 different cars, and you don't know what's going to happen until the day before? Is that something that's quite good for sim racing in general, in the fact that we just sort of like throw everyone to the wolves and see if they can sink or swim?
I personally, I like the idea. I think it's great. I mean, it evens the competition, especially the race on a Sunday, and you don't find out till the Saturday what race and what car and track you're running. It adds another element of, let's say, like simpleness throughout the grid. Like, no one's got 2 weeks to prep for a single event. You've got people out there doing 90, 60 hours of practice, where others are only able to do 2-3 hours due to work commitments and life and family commitments. So at this rate, it's just staying consistent throughout the season and being good across the whole board as well, which I think is a really good make for a good championship.
Brilliant. Well, Thomas, before we let you go tonight, anyone you'd like to thank?
The whole ImSim Esports squad, they've really helped out and getting us ready and prepared for the event, and week in, week out, everything they do, all the sponsors, IMB Raceware, HSR Autos, Grip Engineering, really helping us out and keeping the cars on track, and the rest of the family and friends are all watching and enjoying the stream.
Brilliant. Thomas Cope, our Race 2 winner from the opening round of the ADAC Digital GT500. Thomas, we look forward to seeing you on the 18th for round 2.
Thank you very much.
Right, okay, with that in mind, looks like we've also got our Race 1 winner. So we're going to pull him in. So from Grid and Go Esports, our opening race winner of the ADAC Digital GT500. Gratuliere, Sven Hasse, good to have you with us. Well done. Pole position in time qualifying and got the jump on everybody when the lights went out, Sven. How was race 1 for you? Because you pulled a pretty good gap.
Yeah, basically after start, good evening, first of all. Basically after a good start and good T1, I had 0.8 second of a gap, and from that point onwards, I was just like a little bit managing the tires, because we trained in quite higher temperatures, so I don't know how the car would behave after 5 or 6 laps. But yeah, race 1 was interesting, but race 2 was even more interesting, I have to say.
Yeah, you pipped David Bosger to 10th place at the flag, but with having 36 Mustang GT3s, that's, you know, looking at it from that perspective, we've got the best part of over 18,000 horsepower on the grid in a dual race format, where it puts everyone on notice. It's about the adaptability scale of things. It's always good to see that. I mean, we just had a chat with Thomas Cope, who won race 2, and he said he likes the fact that there is a challenge where you're not having to train for, like, say, 2 weeks for a particular event, but you've got the opportunity to be in the same equipment as everybody else. You're in the same boat. Is that something that you find is a nice addition to what was formerly part of the GT500, where we used to do lengthy endurance races? Most notably, of course, Grid and Go were with us at the Dortmund Messe for the Red Bull Ring. 2 qualifying races and then a feature race. Do you think that this has sort of spiced things up for the GT500 for this year?
Yeah, definitely it will. Personally, I'm not a big fan of so short races. It don't must be an endurance race, but like, as you have maybe witnessed, like 10 laps is a bit short to make positions back up, but on the other hand, it makes things, like you said, quite spicy. You have to fight for everything.
Yeah, indeed. But Sven, congratulations on being the first race winner of the ADAC Digital GT500 for 2024. Anyone that you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, basically everyone in my team. Since yesterday, we tried to evaluate what is possible with that car and train together, and also our sponsors. who just always give us a big support, and yeah, also you as a team to make this happen again.
Brilliant. Sven Harster, thank you so much for joining us here in the commentary box. And Sven, we'll see you round 2 in 3 weeks on the 18th of August. So well done tonight.
Thanks a lot. See you in 3 weeks. Bye-bye.
So, Nico, really, really good to hear from Thomas Cope, our Race 2 winner, and our opening race winner, Sven Harster, who took the first pole position of the ADAC Digital GT500. What a way it's kick-started. You know, new format, you know, throw out the rule book, put them on on notice saying you've got until tomorrow, 8 p.m, stick them in the cars, here's the track, off you go, have fun, we'll see you tomorrow night. Straight away, I know for a fact that when we get to the Expo finale for round 5 on the 20th of October, there will have been so many magical moments created by this revised and revitalized GT500 format.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure of that, because you could see we had action all the way up and down the field, so much so that we quite literally couldn't, you know, catch all of it. Like, there was just too much going on. And, you know, with equal equipment, you know, the same car, pretty much the same knowledge, and the track being announced so late, it just really evens the playing field. It's all down to the driver. And, you know, yes, Sven Haase said, you know, even with the races being that short, you know, you don't have a lot of time there. So you have to still, of course, be able to make moves cleanly. But, I mean, that didn't really stop him in the end. You know, in the end, he still almost... He almost overtook a 4th off the grid to make up 10 positions.
Well, we're going to have a look back at the, well, a lengthy few highlights, but this was the opening race of the ADAC Digital GT500 of 2024. Sven Haase from Grid & Go Esports getting the jump on the likes of Dino Lombardi et al. And just managed to power away, but we had some really, really good battles, and everything was very, very even Stevens. This one in my channel, also in the latter stages of the race, trying to get through on Dino Lombardi. So the two teammates would be battling over second place, but Lombardi would eventually emerge triumphant. Of course, you can see the amount of curbs being used, and this was a little bit later on where we had the likes of the number 6 in the mix of all of this, just to try, and it was a 4-way scrap. It was absolutely brilliant that we brought the Mustang GT3, we brought it to VIR, and then for battling for the bottom part in the top 10, it was just about a case of all of them being there for themselves. And yes, there's a 5,000 euro total prize pool to battle with, but this is just an aperitif for what we're going to see over the next 4 rounds, with the concluding matter being live and in person. Well, live and in person, as in myself and Nico will be live and in person on the 20th. But again, just Nico, seeing the, you know, the fact we had 36 Mustang GT3s on this grid, top 25 in qualifying, covered by about a second, and we had door-to-door paint swapping IMSA style GT3 racing action over both races, didn't we?
100%. And, you know, I'll be absolutely honest. I will commit sacrilege. I will say, you know, GT3 is decent for close racing, but there are better cars. And luckily for us, for close racing, we absolutely have a couple of them more here. The Formula Ford, the GR86 and the MX-5. Those are all cars that, well, they're not really reliant on downforce so much. So it's even going to be even more close, I think, which is just something very, very fun to look forward to.
Yep, so Sven Haase from Grid & Go would take the opening race of the ADAC Digital GT500 for 2024, but it was Igor Wazowski that led the field away from the lights going out here in race 2, with the likes of Thomas Cope, Pablo Espes and quite a few others. But then things got a bit feisty very early. There was a battle for 3rd place, which Haroldas Jotaltas would then take up the mantle in 3rd, ahead of the likes of Pablo Espes. But Thomas Cope would try and get through on Igor Wazowski, who earlier on in the race would make a mistake. Cope would also go slightly off track, but it was the moment here that changed the dynamic of the race. A slight touch, Wazowski filled with fire and brimstone, Cope scampering away, Jotaltis going side by side with Espes, and then this moment here, up the inside, through on Jotaltis, would find that the Lithuanian driver, a little bit later on, would be on the receiving end. First there was a hip check between the two cars, as the number 13 Mustang would try and get very, very close indeed. But Thomas Cope trying to do everything he could. Pablo Espes getting the run on him, coming through out of Horseshoe and into NASCAR Bend. But you could just see how close these drivers were at times, with the top 4, top 5 points being covered by about a second if you were lucky. But then it was going to be the run to the line in the last few moments. And Thomas Cope from Olympus Esports would literally be able to hang on to what would be the second different winner in the second race of the ADAC Digital GT500 here at VIR. And what a spectacle it was. GT3s, IMSA style at VIR. You cannot ask for anything more. Well, folks, that wraps things up for live coverage of the opening round out of 5 for the 2024 ADAC Digital GT500. Round 2, well, the drivers will find out on the 17th of August which car and which track they'll be on. So join myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Nico Hildebrandt on the 18th of August at 6 p.m. UTC, 7 p.m. UK, or if you're in continental Europe, 8 p.m. CEST for round 2 of the ADAC Digital GT500. Don't forget, the week before, we head to Nürburgring Sprint for round 2 of the ADAC SimRacing Expo Asetek Simsports Community Trophy, with the Duquesne LMP3 roaring around the streets, roaring around in the Eifel region of Germany at the Nürburgring Sprint Circuit. Big thank you, as always, to you all for watching. A big thank you to Logitech G, SimStaff, Traction.gg, Asetek Simsports, and Gridfinder. A big thank you also to Ryan Gill for being our broadcast director behind the scenes. We'll see you next time. So, until then, if in doubt, flat out, but race hard and race fair. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Good night.